Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo, and welcome to my scrapbook table. Today's layout is for day 12 of 31 Days of Sketches with Janet and MK, and it's that bookshelf you see on the far right. So here I have already backed the cut file, but then when I saw what some other people did with the cut file, I'm like, I think I would like this even better if I added some color to the cut file. And I do like it now that I've added the color, but it would have been much easier if I had added the color before I backed the cut file. So lesson learned for me there. Next time I think I might want color, I need to do that first. It took a while and was a little bit tedious, but in the end it turned out nicely and I am happy with it. It was kind of a messy process, and I had to be really careful not to get the inks that I was using for the white part of the cut file, to keep from getting those on the patterned paper that I used to back the cut file. I use a variety of things here. I used several distress oxides, one regular distress ink. I used a Stampin' Up! Brown at one point, early espresso. I have some yellow markers lying there, but I don't think I use those unless I use one of them to color some vellum that I used behind the light bulb. I think that's the only thing I did with the yellow marker. I had fun backing this cut file because I pulled out some scraps that all kind of went together, and it was a nice way to get some of those used up. For coloring, right now I'm using it's like a stick with a spongy brush on the end of it. My sister gave those to me, and I mentioned in a previous video how much I liked them. So when she came to visit this week, she brought me some more. So thank you for that. And I will enjoy those new ones as well. I also used one of Stampin' Up's blender pens. I don't even know if they sell those anymore. I have several from many years ago and they still work. I like the control that they give me. If I had been doing this before I backed the cut file, I would have just added some water to my ink and used a paintbrush. But I needed a little more control than that because I did not want to get the ink on the pattern papers. So this is what I end up doing. I used a few different greens there. One is Twisted Citron. I think the others are Mowed Lawn and Rustic Wilderness, but I might have put some Evergreen Bough in there as well. I used a brown, I think it's Walnut Stain, and the Stampin' Up! Brown that I used was Early Espresso. That will go on the glasses in just a moment. And I just kind of mixed these colors to get some different variation of looks. When I used these inks to create the shelf part of this, I really like that I didn't get solid coverage. They look like pieces of wood that have stain and a little bit of wood grain to them. So I was really happy with how that turned out. When I saw this cut file, I loved it because I love books. But I immediately thought of my daughter because she is a voracious reader. She's an adult now, but the reading habit that she created when she was a very small child has just followed her into adulthood. She works at a library, and there couldn't be a more perfect place for her to work than a library. And she reads a wide variety of books, many books a year, and sometimes at a new year, she and I will see on Facebook, someone is challenging themselves to read a book a month or something, which I get that for some people, if you're just not a reader, that's a big deal, but she always giggles because she reads like more than a book a week. And so the other thing I thought of is when our son bought a house and moved out about a year ago, she took over his small bedroom and created kind of a sitting room for herself. And so that's what I'm documenting on this page, and you'll see those photos here real soon. But I decided that's what I would use this cut file for, and it turned out being just right. Yeah, here's the different, I needed a different brown. I wanted something darker for the pair of glasses that are sitting on top of the book on this cut file. So pretty sure that's Early Espresso from Stampin' Up. It's one of my favorite browns that they have. I use it quite a bit. It's very dark, so I'm being careful to, when I dip it in the ink, rub it on the scrap paper first before I take it to my piece that I'm working on. And now I'm going to color some of the books. Excuse me. Cleaning off that blender pen a bit. This is antique. Is that the, yeah, this is antique linen. I really like that color. I don't think it gets a lot of attention, but there's the completed cut file, all backed and painted. And here I'm showing you I added some acetate to the vase and the glasses to make it look like there's water in the vase and actual lenses in the glasses. It doesn't show up real well on the screen here, but in real life you can tell that there's something glossy there. Here's the photos I took of her room, and I have already matted those in some brown cardstock. This is a fountain that we gave her for her birthday, and I think about placement of everything else. The two torn strips that you see there are really old Stampin' Up! Papers. I don't have much of those papers left. I absolutely loved them. And I have two smallish pieces that I could create one more layout with, I think. They have to be 10 to 15 years old. The colors were a light brown, a pink, a blue, and there was some chicken wire. Some of it had like a large chicken motif on it. Very old-fashioned looking. And these were just some of my favorites, and I thought they fit this page well, and it reminded me that I want to use the other bits that I have soon and create another layout. The square photo there is a picture of a wall hanging that she has, and it's a Bible verse. It says, "Love will come to its perfection in us when we can face the day of judgment without fear, because even in this world we have become as He is," which is 1 John 4:17. That's a picture of her desk, which was actually my desk and bookcase as a child, and she had those as hers since she was probably about 6 or 7, and she recently repainted them and they look so nice. She added new hardware, and it was really nice to see that piece of furniture that I loved coming to life again. So I went through my green color bin where I have greens and aquas, and I pulled out some things that I thought might work. I have this little house that fits just perfectly there, which is kind of nice because this room is part of her home. I wanted to get the other house on, but there just wasn't the right space. I do end up using that chipboard piece that says "Wonderful." I added at the top in a little while. The green sticker to the left says "Trust in Him," and I put it there because that shelf houses several different versions of Bibles that she owns. Here's where I'm thinking about, can I add that other house? Can I make it work? The answer is no, so it just goes away in a few minutes. Then I think about what else can I put on here. It needs something. And so after I get this down, I think is when I go through my wood veneer and I find a little circular piece of wood that has a heart on it, a fishtail banner, there's the heart, the coffee cup from MK, and the banner. And while you won't see it now, I did use a rub-on and add some words to that banner that just say keep calm. And now I'm doing some journaling. Basically, it's what I told you. After Brian bought a house and moved to Tennessee, Emily started turning his room into a space for her to enjoy. She painted her desk and slowly acquired furniture to make this sitting room all her own, and it serves as a peaceful place for her to read and write. So that's the journaling. I'm very happy with how this page turned out. It didn't take, now, granted, backing the cut file and painting the actual file, that took a long time. But once that was done, the page came together really quickly. I didn't really have a sketch or anything. I just took a look at what I had and the size pictures that I had, and it kind of just really easily came together. And I really like it when that happens. It's so much nicer than when I agonize over where to place every single thing. And so I was really excited about how this one turned out. If you haven't already, you might want to join the Facebook group 31 Days of Cut Files and look at all the amazing work that people are doing with these cut files. The still shots are coming up here in just a moment. So thanks for joining me. Goodbye.